American history can feel like a set of established facts, but historians start with a radical assumption. Every source is biased. This isn't cynicism. Reconstructing the past is hard because so much information has been lost. Every story is a choice, what to include and what to leave out. We'll give you the historian's toolkit to spot bias and find what really happened. First, the basics. A fact is provable, like the Declaration was signed in 1776. An opinion is a belief about that fact, like it was a courageous act. Bias is a thumb on the scale, a disproportionate weight for or against something. It's about perspective, and it's everywhere. In history, bias is the partial reporting of events. A British paper in 1776 would describe the American Revolution very differently than a colonial pamphlet. Recognizing bias exists is step one. Step two is finding the hidden machinery that creates it. Where does it actually come from? First, the writer. Their personal beliefs, experiences, and political leanings will always shape their narrative. Second, the audience. A newspaper is a business. It caters to its readers' existing beliefs to maintain its circulation. Third, the reporter's own sources. Relying only on official statements creates a very different story than interviewing protesters. But the most powerful bias is often invisible, what is left out. A story about industrial progress that never mentions child labor is biased. Omission is deceptive because the information presented might be factually correct. By omitting key context, the source creates a misleading version of reality. So we have the author, the audience, their sources, and what they omit. Knowing this, how do we actively analyze a document for ourselves? Your first move is to play detective on the source itself. Who published it? When? Was it wartime? An election year? This reveals the biases of the era. But the single most effective method is to never trust just one source. Let's see this in action. How would two papers in 1898 report the sinking of the USS Maine? A yellow journalism paper might headline, "Spanish Treachery." A reserved paper might headline, "Investigation Underway." The bias becomes instantly visible. As you compare sources, ask a vital question. 1. Cui bono? Or who benefits from this story being told this way? 2. Whose voice is centered and whose is missing? If a story about a treaty only quotes government officials, you're only getting part of the history. Now, it's tempting to just discard a biased source. That's a mistake. The existence of bias doesn't make a source worthless. It's a historical clue. A biased source tells you what certain people believed, feared, and wanted others to believe. It's a window into the mindset of that time and place. We've covered bias in authors, audiences, and sources, but we've missed the most important person in the equation. You. This is the hardest step. You have to ask, am I accepting this because it's well supported, or because it confirms what I already believe? Being a true critical thinker isn't about being a perfect, unbiased machine. It is about having the self-awareness to know your own biases and account for them. Okay, let's bring it all together. We have a powerful toolkit for analyzing the past. Now let's add some modern digital techniques to make it stronger. Remember comparing two old newspapers? The modern equivalent is lateral reading. Don't just read down one article. Open new tabs. What are other sources saying? Remember our distinction between a verifiable fact and an opinion? For any questionable fact, use dedicated fact-checking sites like PolitiFact or Snopes. Is that historical photo real? Use a reverse image search on Google or TinEye. It can show you where the image first appeared and if it's been altered. Has a claim changed over time? The Wayback Machine archives websites, letting you see how stories or information have been edited or removed. The goal isn't finding one perfectly unbiased source. That's impossible. It's about gathering multiple differently biased sources to triangulate the truth. In an age of fake news, this skill is more vital than ever. By thinking like a historian, you're protecting yourself from being manipulated. Here's your challenge. The next time you see something about American history, apply one of these techniques. Ask who benefits. Look for the missing voices. You have the tools. Now, go be a detective of the past. What are some of the most biased historical sources you've ever seen? Let us know in the comments.